nature of science is the search for truth. It is our way of knowing about the world around us. We search for truth and understanding through observation and explanations. In order to get to the description of our world, we start with basic questions such as, why are leaves green?
You may have learned that leaves are green because they're full of a green molecule called chlorophyll. It's the reason for the greenness of plants, from moss green moss to grass green grass to evergreen evergreens. And the reason chlorophyll is so incredibly popular, showing up in nearly every plant on Earth, is that it's good at soaking up sunlight. The more light a plant gets, the more energy it has to make sugar and grow tulips and kumquats and do all the other things plants do. But wait a second, doesn't the fact that chlorophyll is green mean that it's actually bad at absorbing green light? I mean, sunlight is composed of the whole rainbow of colors, each a separate wavelength, and the colors we see when we look at a leaf are the wavelengths that leaf isn't absorbing. That is, they're the ones that bounce off the leaf and reach our eyes. Chlorophyll is great at absorbing reds and blues, but if it were really awesome, wouldn't it absorb all colors of light, green included, giving us a world full of black moss and black grass and ever-black trees? So why aren't leaves black? And since they apparently don't have to be black, what's stopping them from being red or blue instead? Is green just nature's favorite color, or is there something special about those wavelengths of light? The short answer is that we don't know for sure.
One of the goals in the search for truth is understanding. The human mind attempts to make sense of its observations by organizing them in a way that reveals order in the phenomena being observed, leading us to the question, how do you know what you know? Here's my friend Michael to explain.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Where are your fingers? Seriously, it's a pretty easy question. You should be able to answer it. But how do you know? How does anyone know anything? You might say, well, I know where my fingers are. I'm looking right at them. Or I can touch them. I can feel them. They're right here. The philosophy of knowledge, the study of knowing, is called epistemology. Plato famously said that the things we know are things that are true, that we believe, and that we have justification for believing. Those justifications might be irrational, or they might be rational, they might be based on proof. But don't get too confident, because proven is not a synonym for true.
Progress in science is the development of better explanations for the causes of natural phenomena. Science is ever changing. Scientists can never be sure a given explanation is complete and final. If a scientific theory is consistently tested and proven, it is considered valid, as in Newton's law of inertia. Let's go to the International Space Station to explain.
On board the ISS, gravity has very little effect, so everything there is almost weightless. Hi, Pedro. That's a nice smile you've got there, Pedro. Not much is happening. The ball is just hanging there in midair. Pedro blows on it and it moves because of the force of his breath. Now the ball is moving again, except this time Alexander has stopped it with his hand. And this time, nice move. Pedro changes the ball's direction by applying a force. What you've been seeing are illustrations of Newton's first law of motion. This states that every object in motion or at rest remains in that state unless an unbalanced force is applied to it. The state of motion is the speed and also the direction. The two combined, speed and direction, are what we call velocity. An object at rest has a velocity of 0, and it stays at rest unless acted on by a force. We call this tendency inertia.
Our hunger for a way to understand our world and the universe around us has been very fruitful. We have a much better understanding now than just 50 years ago. The nature of science has impacted our world in such a way to cause many advances in technologies, just like these.